All right, ready when you are.
Cool. All right. So let's go. So welcome everyone. Thank you for joining us for today's masterclass. I'm James from the Binance Australia team. We're very excited to have you all here tonight. So just a disclaimer before we get into our BSC masterclass is that the Binance Chain is a blockchain project that was initiated by Binance and is not a product offered by Binance Australia. Please check out the Binance Chain community on Twitter and Telegram for more information regarding Binance Smart Chain. Our speaker for tonight will be Tristan Hazelwood. Tristan works with the Crypto Consulting Institute as a consultant, and he is also a co-founder of the Aussie crypto community on Facebook. He'll be teaching us about the Binance Smart Chain today. Tristan, would you like to say a few words to introduce yourself?
G'day guys, thanks for being on the line today. It's my honor to walk you along the transition from centralized finance into decentralized finance. It's quite exciting, all the innovation taking place there. So as James said, I'm one of the co-founders of Aussie Crypto Community. It's a Facebook group. There's about 16,000 of us, so a bunch of crypto enthusiasts all going at it in there. I'm a consultant with Crypto Consulting Institute. There we basically teach clients analytical processes to identify investment opportunities in the market. Then we show them how to build investment strategies around that. And more recently, I've jumped on board with the team at Red Fox Labs. We're super excited about that. They're extremely innovative in the NFT space with a vision for digital inclusion, which is what it's all about. So yeah, without any further ado, I guess we'll jump straight into it, guys. So what we're going to go through...
I'll just do a little bit of housekeeping first.
Oh, please,
just so
please.
Everyone understands the structure. That's all good. So thanks for that, Tristan. We'll have a Q&A session after the presentation today. So thank you to everyone who has submitted questions before the class. Don't forget to stick around for our announcement of the giveaway winners after the Q&A session. So if you have any questions throughout the class, but you haven't had a chance to fill out our pre-survey, feel free to drop a question in our live chat. We'll try to get through some of them at the end of the presentation. All right. Now you're good to go.
My man. Okay, so what we're going to cover today, guys, we're going to take you from the very beginning. So we're going to hit on all levels of wherever you're at in your journey. So we're going to start off with signing up on Binance Australia, depositing your Australian dollars from your bank through PayID, OSCO, and then we're going to go ahead and trade that for BNB. From there, I'm going to touch on a little bit what the Binance Smart Chain actually is. And then we'll move on to withdrawing what are called BEP20 tokens. You may have heard of ERC20 tokens. The former is compatible with the Binance Smart Chain, and we'll operate that from MetaMask. From there, I'll also show you how we'll go about setting up BSC network on the wallet itself. We'll also go through the Binance Smart Chain Explorer. I'll very briefly touch on what is yield farming, and we're going to go through and actually interact with some Binance Smart Chain protocols. We're going to swap, provide liquidity, and we're going to yield farm. After we've done that, we're going to just run a demonstration on how we're going to go about actually depositing our crypto back into Binance, and then how we might withdraw that into our bank accounts. Not that I do, because I'm a crypto freak. So we'll just quickly smash through this one here. So how to sign up on the desktop. So when you get to the homepage on Binance, you can go ahead and enter a phone number or email address in the bar that's highlighted for you there. And then it'll take you through to this section here. Basically, what you need prepared is some documentation to verify your identity. This is in line with anti-money laundering laws. So this has a lot to do with AUSTRAC. And then you've got to go ahead and upload a photo ID of basically a selfie of yourself. That way, the Binance team can match that up to the documentation you provide. So we're going to quickly touch on now how you would go about depositing AUD. So you can see there from the home page, you can select deposit AUD. You can also hover above to the buy crypto in the top left corner there, and it'll drop box that same option. So this is what the screen looks like. Effectively, you're selecting your currency, which is AUD. We're hitting on the payment method we want to use, and that's PayID, which is instantaneous after your first deposit. Now, there's often a bit of variance in terms of how long your first deposit might take. It could be instant, it could be a day. In any event, you'll be able to actually see that processing in your deposit history. So then you would go to your payment details and you would enter in the amount in AUD. Now, it's worth pointing out that once you do this, you don't have to deposit, say, 50. You could do 500, 5,000, whatever. It's a nominal amount to because once you hit continue, you then get the details. So what you'll do once you get the details in that red box there is you'll actually then go to, we're actually skipping straight to how we're going to deposit via the app real quick. So before I get too ahead of myself with mobile banking, if you're using an iOS or Android on your phone, you can go ahead and hit deposit AUD on the home screen once you've logged into your Binance account. So we can see the same process here. You enter the amount and hit continue. It then generates the bank details. So here we are looking at an example of a banking app. Now, please keep in mind that no matter what bank you're with, they typically take on the same structure. So you'll have a payee section. So because we are using OSCO, that's linked to that email address right there. So you input that into the mobile phone there. And again, like I say, you can send more than $50 if you like. You don't need a description. You don't need a reference. You've already got linked to your Pay ID email. So that'll go straight into your account pretty much. So it's moving that. So once your transfer has been cleared, the deposit will be reflected in AUD on your wallet through the Binance app. And we can see that there where it's blanked out. It would otherwise have appeared. So once your deposit has appeared, and we can now start to think about trading it. So what we'll do is actually go to, you've got one or two options, right? You can go to markets and you can see that just here. And then you can search up AUD, or you can go ahead and hit trade in this section here. And then it'll actually do this little drop box here. You can select Cardano, BNB, Bitcoin, Doge, Ethereum, Link, SXP. There's a few others on there too that directly trade with the AUD. So it's just worth very briefly touching on the difference between when you get to your market screen to go ahead and exchange your Australian dollars for BNB, you've got two types of orders. So you've got limit orders. Essentially, you're setting a price. And if the price hits the amount that you have set, it'll execute. It may fully execute if the price continues to go down further, or if it just sort of bounces off, it may only partially fill. So if you're in a bit of a, I don't know, if you're just trying to buy at a certain point in time, that's when a market order would come in. So you can see on the left side here, this is the buy and sell book. So you can see what people are looking to buy and what people are looking to sell. So let's just say, for example, you want to buy 10 BNB. So you can see here in the amount, there's 6 there and 4 there. You will actually buy, you'll basically pick up all of the 530,205 and part of the 530,614, and your price will be averaged out from that. So now the fun part, I get to talk about what the Binance Smart Chain actually is. So it is a standalone blockchain that runs in parallel to the Binance chain. So if we go back to, I believe, in July 2019, the Binance chain was released as a decentralized exchange or DEX solution. What this effectively means, it's non-custodial. So we are actually holding our crypto and we are swapping it. We're taking a sell order off the books in exchange for what we are sending effectively. So it's peer-to-peer. It's not an order book model like the centralized exchange. And Binance Smart Chain itself came out in around September of last year. So what makes it particularly unique is that it's effectively a standalone blockchain operating within what's called the Ethereum virtual machine, and it is compatible with that. So don't be alarmed if you're feeling a little bit confused by that. You should be if you don't know what it is. Think about it this way, right? So we're all operating on either Windows, Mac, Android, iOS, or for a bit more advanced on a Linux. So what that is, that's called a runtime environment. What we can do within this runtime environment, we can actually create apps within it. So that's basically all the things that we're using right now to even be on this presentation right now. There is a series of apps involved. So I like to think of it as Binance Chain is just an app within the Ethereum virtual machine. It's not connected to Ethereum. It's not what's called a layer 2. It's a standalone blockchain. So what this means is that effectively, it's as the next point says, it's got a rich universe of Ethereum roles. So effectively, it has basically a gateway to interact with the existing dApps on within the Ethereum virtual machine. And we can actually configure our MetaMasks to work within the Ethereum virtual machine, but on another layer down into the actual Binance Smart Chain itself. So it is possible to bridge existing ERC20 tokens onto the network. So as it says there, because it's EVM compatible, they share the same smart contract rules, and it makes the actual Binance Smart Chain highly flexible, and it explains a lot of the liquidity that's been flowing in to the Binance Smart Chain ecosystem is simply because the existing dApps on the Ethereum blockchain that also operates in the EVM is able to really easily assimilate over to the Binance Smart Chain. So the ETH and the BSC mainnets often share the same public address. And again, it's just because we're operating in the same Ethereum virtual machine. The EVM doesn't, it's a byproduct of the Ethereum mainnet, but it is not essentially connected to it. Again, this takes a little bit more diving into to really understand the technicals of it. So once we withdraw our tokens to Binance Smart Chain, they become known as BEP20 tokens. So we won't see those on the ETH mainnet. We'll only see those on the Binance Smart Chain. So we're going to touch on really quickly how you're going to go about withdrawing that. So in your fiat and spot wallet there, you're going to type BNB in the search bar just to save yourself a bit of time. And then you'll actually hit withdraw down here. That takes you to the withdraw screen. And then you select your asset you're going to withdraw. In our case, that will be BNB. And because we want it to operate on, so keep in mind how I said that Binance Chain is a standalone blockchain. And then we've got Binance Smart Chain, which is effectively, again, they're both distinct blockchains. So if we were to send it to BEP2, it would wind up on the Binance chain. But we're going to actually send it to Binance Smart Chain as a BEP20, and we'll go through the 2F or two-factor authentication and hit submit. So here, this is what it looks like when we go ahead and set up the Binance Smart Chain network on our MetaMask wallets. You're going to hit settings, go to network. You can see that Binance Smart Chain is already there. Pretend it's not. Hit that little add network button. And then on the next window there, you go ahead and you input these details. Now, these details, simply a matter of just Googling how to set up Binance Smart Chain on MetaMask. And then it'll give you basically the chain ID, the RPC URL, all those details. So now we're going to touch on Binance Smart Chain Explorer, or BSC Scan. So this is effectively a clone of Etherscan. If many of you have tinkered on the Ethereum mainnet, you'll be familiar with this. So basically, you can browse information about blocks that have been built on the chain. So the advantage of the Binance Smart Chain is that the block times in order to build a block, it's really quick. Ethereum takes some time. That's why they've only got about 7 to 15 transactions per second that they are able to handle, because of how long it takes for their blocks to be validated and built on the chain. Binance Smart Chain has its own internal validator network of 21 nodes. And basically that really does expedite the process there. So we'll see all the transactions that have occurred on the blockchain, wallet balances, and information about BNB. So your names aren't attached to that wallet address. So as long as you don't, attach your name to the wallet address, you are effectively anonymous in that sense. So this is just what it looks like here. You can see your Binance coin value there. And then if you had other tokens, you can go ahead and hit the drop box there, and you can see what else you've got in there. So this is the fun part for me. So now we're on to yield farming. So in the most simplest way, it's, as it says, it's a way to make more crypto with your crypto, but how it does it is actually quite elegant. People see really high APYs and they don't believe it. They're sort of like, oh, what's this Ponzi? But there's actually a lot of smart contract processes going on in the background. There's a lot of arbitration going on in the background because prices vary on different dexes. And basically new coins are being minted off where we're incentivized to yield farm. So there's just so many things that you can do to actually generate a high yield. So to participate in yield farming, you need to provide liquidity pairs to a decentralized exchange or a DEX. Essentially, you're lending the pairs. So let's just stick to this example. For someone to buy your BTCB, that's Binance Chain, Binance wrapped Bitcoin, they must give you that value in BNB. So match equivalent market value. Same rules apply for all liquidity pairs. You are given what's the best, and again, the best way to think about this is you're given a receipt for this. You get given what's called LP tokens or liquidity pair tokens. Effectively, it's a receipt to say you have deposited into a liquidity pool. But the cool thing is that you can actually take this receipt and you can go ahead and start putting it into different pools and automated market making processes that yield a profit. So I'll go into that in more detail. So users are incentivized to take returns, and there's a few different ways you can go about it. I've just touched on the really basic ones here. So you stake your LP token derivative, and you accrue more of that over time. So essentially, you might have 2 LP tokens; they might grow to 3 over time. So when you go to redeem, you'll basically take out you'll take out 50% more of what you actually put into liquidity. And that's not taking impermanent loss into account, which I'll only very briefly touch on. So then you've got what's called liquidity mining. So a lot of these Binance Smart Chain protocols, they'll actually incentivize you with some pretty lucrative high APY returns. They'll offer you a token that's unique essentially to their protocol. And then there's a bunch of cool stuff you can do with that. And I'll actually take you through that through the demonstration. And you can see we can also combine that as well, which is really cool. You get given a receipt of your receipt, and then you can stake it in farms. So that's really cool. So it's definitely worth noting that yield farming is really high risk. So I'm definitely not telling you guys that after this presentation, go ahead and start yield farming like nuts. Like, please don't. Do some research, understand the risks. So you got things like flash loan attacks. So effectively, that's on a lending platform where there have been exploits in the past where people could take loans without putting down collateral. So there has been some pretty major hacks of DeFi protocols. And that also trickles into the contract vulnerabilities. Because what a smart contract is, right? It's a set of rules. And like all rules that we follow in life, there are often loopholes and ways to exploit those rules. And people go ahead, the really nefarious among us that basically don't care if they're ripping people off. They'll find loopholes and they'll go ahead and take it if they can. So then you'll often find that they'll try to put you in a position that you compromise your private keys. So your wallets have seed phrases to them. You never give those to anyone. I cannot stress that enough. If you take nothing else away from this today, never give anyone your seed phrases. Just don't. Or something that can occur that's called rug pulling or an exit scam. Essentially, that's just the founders or the people that have developed it have given themselves a massive portion of the utility token, and then they just dump it on the market. So then we touch on then this is basically more of a user risk. This next one, it's called impermanent loss. Now, you're not going to understand it after this explanation. So please go ahead and research this. I don't know if any of you are taking notes, but if you write down fine matics and box mining, and then later on go look them up on YouTube, they have some really good explanations of impermanent loss. So essentially, liquidity pairs are provided at a 1-to-1 ratio based on their market value. So based on the movements in the market, your liquidity pair always wants to keep both sides at 50% market value. So if one goes down, you might find that it actually increases your total tokens within there. But if it goes up, you might also find that you've got less of your tokens in there, but it's maintaining that value. So there's a lot of different things to factor in, such as total value locked, basically how much liquidity there is available there, because the less liquidity, the more volatility. So that's something to remember as well, just as you're trading in general. So liquidity mining is essentially, it is an incentive to try to balance out any losses that you might experience through impermanent loss. And like I say, because of the really high APYs, and keep in mind, these are not fixed. These APYs change over time. So people like to get in when the APY is really high, and then they like to dump on the market. So you want to find more stable coins if you were just starting out. So I provided a quick example here, right? So So Bob's gone ahead and he's provided BNB paired with Bitcoin to a liquidity pool smart contract. Alice comes along and she swaps 0.5 or half a BNB for 0.0045 Bitcoin. That's roughly the market equivalent at the moment. So that'll go into the actual smart contract. So what happens there is that you've got Bob, who's the actual liquidity provider. So he's provided, for the simplicity of this demonstration, he has provided the same. So he's provided half a BNB with 0.0045 Bitcoin. And his share of the total liquidity pool, meaning everybody else, like on top of everyone else that's providing liquidity, he has 1% of that. So what happens there is that he will send basically 0.00045 Bitcoin from his share of the liquidity. And then all the other 99% of liquidity providers will fill up that order for Alice. So what happens there is that because Alice has also sent BNB, that BNB goes back into liquidity, and that's given back to all the liquidity holders. And then on top of that, and this is the incentive for providing liquidity at the very base level, you get your pool share of transaction fees. Every transaction, it varies. You could be looking at 0.1 to 0.5% per transaction just as a fee that goes to liquidity providers. So now we're set up, if we've gone ahead and done our Binance Smart Chain network setup, to go ahead and swap our BNB. So what I'm showing you here is, and I'm going to take this opportunity just very quickly. I'm not shilling you. I'm not telling you where to go ahead and do this. I am going to the one with the highest level of the highest TVL and the highest market cap right now, and that is Pancake Swap. So you can see here in this example, we're going to swap at a 1-to-1 ratio. We're going to basically trade, hit exchange, and then we're going to put in 0.1 BNB just as an example, right? And then that's going to give you the market equivalent of what that's worth when matched to Bitcoin. You hit swap, and then we come up with this window here. And basically, we're waiting for confirmation. That's when our MetaMask will drop. We'll hit confirm on that. And then we add liquidity. So after we've swapped and we've got enough Bitcoin and BNB to provide that 1-to-1 liquidity, we can go ahead and actually do that. So in this instance, we've maxed out Bitcoin, and then it's basically provided the value of that at a 50-50 ratio. Now, it's important to mention, just like Ethereum powers the Ethereum mainnet, BNB powers the Binance Smart Chain. So you need BNB in your wallet in order to to pay for the gas fees to execute these smart contracts. So you can see here the similar sort of thing. We've gone ahead and we're waiting for confirmation. We've confirmed that. After we've confirmed, there are 3 different ways that we can actually see whether what's happened there. So you can see from Pancake Swap itself, it's given us the LP tokens that we now have in total and what those are worth. From our MetaMask as well, you can see that may pop up on the extension. And then when we go into Binance, basically BSC scan, we can see it there when we Dropbox our tokens. So I'll use several different examples, but this is one that I'll touch on because it's interesting. Basically, we're going to take some LP token derivatives, what we've just shown you on the screen. We're going to go and stake that at Pancake Bunny. So try not to get caught up on the silly names. There is a real product behind it. So we've got those LP tokens there. We're going to max it out and we're going to deposit. Once we've done that, it's going to come up asking for us to confirm. Once we've done that, it will then show our deposit in here. And then you'll be able to see in the profit section. So this is auto compounding. This particular option is aggregating our LP tokens. So effectively, it is that 0.008, that's going to grow over time. So in order to cash out to fiat, all right. So not all pairs are currently available on the Binance Smart Chain. Basically, there's probably a better selection or a broader selection that goes outside the Binance and Ethereum ecosystem of tokens you may want to buy that are listed on Binance. So we may need to deposit back in. So if you go back to your fiat and spot, you can look up BNB, and then it'll come down the bottom here, and it'll ask, you can hit deposit. Once you do that, we're going to select BNB. and then you put in your address, and you're going to select the BEP20 because we're depositing it from the Binance Smart Chain. So it's really important we make sure we get that step right, because we don't want to lose our assets. So once we obtain a deposit address, we can go back to our wallets to send it. So do take note. So it takes 15 network confirmations. Essentially, that's just how many blocks have been produced since your request. And typically that is pretty quick. So from our wallets, we would select BNB, the asset here, the amount we want to put in, and then we'd go ahead and confirm that. And you can see there's a gas fee attached to that. That will come from your BNB balance. So now we're going to go ahead and withdraw into our banks. Like I said, I don't do this, but we've all got bills to pay, and some of us want to buy nice things, and not everywhere accepts crypto yet. So I'm going to show you how to do that. So we're going to withdraw. It's really quite simple. Basically, our bank details have already been registered in Binance. So you can just say select 50, hit confirm, and my experience with it is that it was instant. Obviously, I can't speak for everyone, but my experience was instant. So now that we've gone through the actual slides here, I'm going to go ahead and do a walkthrough of pretty much everything we've just discussed. So like Grogu, we're going to dive on in. So we're going to set up the Binance Smart Chain. I'm going to demonstrate how we're going to interact with PancakeSwap. And I'm going to show you the different things you can do on there as well. And we'll touch on Bunny too. And then if time permits, I can show you what else is going on. And then we're going to deposit back into Binance some crypto from our wallet. So let's get started, guys. So we're going to start from here. Essentially, I've already got this set up. I'm going to put in just for lols, we're going to say 400 there. I'm going to hit continue. And then what that's going to do is it's actually going to produce these details here, and those go into your bank account. So if you want to deposit me crypto, you're welcome to do that, but I wouldn't encourage it. We've all got unique pay ID addresses. So right now I'm actually logging into my bank, and then I'm going to go ahead and pay anyone. I'm going to select Binance Australia because I've already got them set up, and I'm going to send them $400. Okay, and I've just hit confirm on that, right? So we can now go back to our fiat and spot. And because I'm embarrassed of my shit coins, I've concealed that. So what I'm going to do is we're actually going to go straight into trade, and we're going to trade it for BNB. So right now I'm showing you how you would buy BNB with Australian dollars off the Binance Smart Chain. So right now we're just loading her up. So there you go. So from the time it took me to deposit to get onto the market screen, the $400 is already there. So I'm actually just going to do a market buy, just for convenience sake. We're going to buy BNB. So you'll notice this will basically that executed instantly. So we're going to quickly move on to actually going ahead to withdraw that. So I've already arranged. So there are security implications you can think of as well, in terms of basically just securing your process. So you can have Google Authenticator, you can have email verification, mobile verification, or you can have all the above. So I've looked up BNB, it's appeared. I'm going to withdraw. Okay, so I'm going to select one of my whitelisted. I'm going to go to Ledger because I'm going to show you guys just very briefly how you can actually use a Ledger to connect to your MetaMask. That is the safest way. With a Ledger, you never have to enter your seed phrases anywhere apart from the Ledger itself. So if anyone asks you to enter your seed phrases, you can politely tell them to go shut the front door. So Binance Smart Chain there, we're going to max her out. So that bought me, actually, we're not going to max it out because I want to keep some in my wallet. But what I will do is I'm going to send 0.5. So we're going to submit that. So you can see here, it's going to ask for some security verification. And that all happens very, very quickly. So if you would just forgive me for a few moments, the email has come through and it's given me a code to enter. Brilliant. So then what we're going to do is very quickly go onto our Google Authenticator app. And these are randomly generated codes that basically have a time expiration to them. So I'm going to submit that. Cool beans. Right. So the withdrawals request has been submitted. So that may take, up to a few minutes. So in the meantime, I can actually take you to MetaMask. So what I've done here is I've actually expanded the view of MetaMask. You can see that you can actually drop it down from your little browser extension here. But I'm not going to do that because it's just easier for us all to see here. So what we're going to do is I'm just going to quickly show you how you'd go about setting up the Binance Smart Chain. So we can actually hit this little colorful icon in the corner, or rather before I get too ahead of myself, we're going to show you how to connect your hardware wallet. Ooh, exciting. So a couple of notes here, guys, for any of you that do have a Ledger device or another hardware wallet, you need to use the Ethereum app. Remember how we talked about Binance Smart Chain being compatible with the Ethereum virtual machine? Effectively, it is using the Ethereum app in order to do that. So it gets a little bit fidgety. So forgive me for a few moments. Yes, I'm touching it. Just takes a while. There we go. So you can see here, it opens a bunch of accounts. So if I want to open a new account, I would hit unlock, but that's counterintuitive. I've already gone ahead and set that up. One more thing that I will say is that you need to go into your Ethereum app on your ledger itself. And what you'll actually do is you'll go to settings, and then it's going to come up with contract data by default. It'll come up contract data not allowed. You need to switch that to allowed. That's going to allow us to interact with smart contract protocols. I'm just seeing if this is going to catch up or if it's going to play silly buggers. No, it might be playing silly buggers. That's all good. We can start looking at setting up the Binance Smart Chain anyway. So we'll hit this colorful icon in the corner, settings, network. You can see I've already got it set up. I could add new network and clear that. But basically, we're going to enter these details in. As I mentioned earlier, you can simply Google setting up Binance Smart Chain on MetaMask. And you can see that that's popped up here. So you would actually just copy and paste those into the blank fields. So yeah, that's all you've really got to do, gang. So cool beans. In that time, we can see that BNB is finally deposited into our account. So now we can actually go have a bit of fun with it. But first and foremost, I'm going to show you that appearing on Binance Scan. So how you would get there, short of just copying and pasting this address into the scan, is you'd actually just hit View in Explorer, and that opens this window. So I'm going to refresh that now because that's going to reflect our balance in BNB. Cool. There you go. So you can see that's changed since we've deposited. And here's a nice little reference as well. So basically, as a disclaimer, this is really high risk. Look here, there's a rug pull. So you can filter this by any way. I'm going to filter it by market cap. And you can see that basically the top trading cryptos by market cap have appeared at the top. You could go by date start. Ideally not the bottom. Hey, now we're talking. And then you've got things like, these are basically the OG original. So there we go. We've got Pancake Swap there. So this is a good way to sort of understand what protocols are in the system, but we're going to jump into Pancake Swap and have a bit of fun now. So what we're going to do is we're going to open up the exchange first. So there are a couple of different things that I want to do here. I'm very mindful of the time, so I'm going to be quick. So to show you the Bitcoin example, we're going to go some Bitcoin. I'm not going to do too much of that. I'm going to swap that. It's going to confirm swap. Now, because we're using a ledger, it's going to ask us, once we confirm that, to touch our security key. And it might play silly buggers because that's what it loves to do. Review transaction. So I've reviewed the transaction, accept and send it. Yep, sweet. So you'll see that's just going to tinker and think about it for a few moments. There we go. You can see the confirmed transactions come up in the bottom corner here. So we've got so we can hit liquidity on the side, or you can simply hit this tab here. Sometimes it may not refresh our balance. If it doesn't, then we can just simply refresh the screen. I'm going to do that because we don't really want to muck around, do we? All right. So again, I don't want to use all my BNB. I'm gonna max out on Bitcoin here, and so it's going to ask me to approve it first. So this is basically just saying, yep, it's okay that for us to interact and do smart contract interactions. So we're going to confirm that. So it wants me to touch my key, review transaction, accept and send. Cool beans. Now it's going to start thinking about approving that. Lum-de-dum-de-dum. Done deal. Okay. So now we can actually supply. So you can see it's going to tell us the amount of pool tokens that we get and what we're depositing. So 0.09 BNB and 0.00089 Bitcoin. We're going to confirm that. It's going to ask us to confirm on MetaMask. And again, Ledger is really important to use, guys. It removes a number of different risks. In my mind, remote access hacking is not a cool thing, whether you're DeFiing or not. You just don't want other people in your stuff. So I've gone ahead and I've sent that. Send it. Oh, cool. I didn't know I could do that. Cool. So as you can see, it's really quick on Binance Smart Chain. Oh, someone needs to mute. Anyways, so we've gone ahead and provided LP tokens. You can see they've actually appeared down here, right? So what you can do is you can go to your farms now. Oh, the exciting part. So you'll see here that there are a list of different pairings. So how do I put Cake BNB? I'm going to actually do another demonstration with Cake because there are a lot of different things you can do with it. So you could actually scroll through this list, or if you're impatient like we are, because we got yields to harvest from our farms. Here's Bitcoin here, right? So 17% APR. So that's your appreciated percentage rate. So that's not taking into account your compounding. You could jump in every day if you wanted to, and you could take your cake and compound it. But there are actually more lucrative opportunities out there. And this is where Bunny comes in. So hello, Bunny. We're going to refresh because I don't want this wallet connected. Cool. It's being a jerk, guys. Aha, duh. Connect. So now we've connected our wallet, the right wallet. Now we can actually scroll through this list and, oh, would you look at that? So we've got Bitcoin, BNB, and so the top one here, this one is what actually compounds your LP tokens. So your LP tokens will grow, plus you'll get the utility token for this protocol, which is Bunny. But I like Cake and Bunny. So I'm going to jump into this one. So that way the LP tokens aren't growing through this method, but you are being given Cake from PancakeSwap and Bunny from this protocol. So I'm going to max out, well, I'm going to approve it first. So yeah, again, it's good to emphasize that this is by no means the only DeFi protocols on the Binance Smart Chain. The level of innovation occurring on the Binance Smart Chain is actually it's quite staggering, just because the complexity of smart contracts on Ethereum are very limited. Look at that! Just in the time of me talking, it's confirmed. So now I can go ahead and deposit. So because it's so expensive on Ethereum right now, it really limits how complex you can make your smart contracts. Whereas through here, really, the sky's the limit in terms of innovation. And this isn't just a Binance shill, it's just simply the arrangement and basically its compatibility with the EVM. So we're depositing here. Cool beans, thank you. So there you go. You can see that's appeared. It's given us a monetary amount for what's staked. And look at that. Even instantly, you can start to see that even though, yes, that's a lot of decimal places, there is already a profit starting to generate in Cake and Bunny. So we're going to go back to Pancake now. I want to show you one more thing that we can actually do, because there's a lot of different DeFi products. So we're going to take BNB. We're going to look up Cake. Hi, hello, Cake. We'll give it a few moments, and keeping in mind, I am very cognizant of time right now. I'll spend a few minutes depositing some BNB back. So I'm going to do 0.2 here. I'm going to swap it. So that's the equivalent of 4.77 Cake. We're going to confirm that, because then I can show you the kinds of things we can actually do with it. Okay, confirm. My ledger's being very kind to me today. It's not playing too many silly buggers with us. Don't stop thinking about tomorrow. There we go. Okay, so the cool things you can do with the utility token for this protocol. So Pancake Swap, it is one, as I alluded to earlier, one of the earlier projects. It is essentially a fork of Uniswap, and it's taken some inspiration from SushiSwap as well. But you can see that it's built quite beyond the products that are available on Uniswap. So once you jump into your pool section here, we can actually go ahead and see all the different pools here. So what you can do with that cake that we just got, you can actually stake it in all these launch pads. So this is so these are pools, but effectively this is a launch pad. These are new tokens that are that Pancake have made an arrangement with the team behind them to actually release in exchange for people staking their cake. And when you stake your cake, you get basically a 94% APR, for example, on Pearl. I don't even know what that is, so I'm not shilling it. There are some here that I do recognize, and I'm not in the business of shilling. So there's one thing that we can go ahead and do with that. So you can see there, actually, that's just popped up. Okay, well, it's saying there's no cake available, so we're going to ignore that for now, because we most definitely perform that swap. So there's also a lottery system too. So again, and I'm not tapping into the gamblers in here. This is just effectively, this is just a DeFi product. And this is something that already exists in the real world. You know, you go and spend 50 bucks on a lottery ticket, and you can see these aren't small amounts to put your nose up at, and it changes quite dynamically with user interactions. So you could go and buy tickets and things like that, hit max, buy your ticket. That's one thing you can do. You can see that also a very exciting innovation. I'll need a whole other Binance Masterclass to talk about NFTs, but essentially there's a really quite a unique merger going on between gamifying NFTs so that they can be used within DeFi to generate yields. It's really quite fascinating. And then you've got a new thing here called Team Battle as well. So this just incentive, it's got 14 minutes left. So it incentivizes trading within, I can see what the problem was before. Okay, forget about it. It's connected to a different wallet. That's why my cake didn't show, guys. This is live webinar for you. So you can see here, this particular wallet, I traded like $100, and and I need to have traded 334,000 to get in the top 500. Had I done that, I would get a share of these prizes. And again, it's not something to put your nose up at, but I'm not telling you put your whole life through here. Always exercise proper risk management, and that will look different for each and every one of you. So yeah, that's really cool, guys. So I'm going to actually just really quickly show you how we can send it back to Binance now. So we're going to do that. So we're going to go back to our fiat and spot. And this may take some time. So, you know, we're not going to stress. I can still show us other things in between. So I'm going to send back BNB. Awesome. We're going to deposit that. So as I showed you in the slides, yep, here we go. This is the remainder, basically to make sure you are sending it from the right place to the right place. So here you go. So you got your BEP20. You can copy, address copied, and you go to your wallet here. If it ever plays ball, if it doesn't, I'll just use the expanded view. Okay, so send. I'm only going to send a little bit. So we're going to paste that address. You can see it's changed the screen now. And then we can go ahead and send 0.05 BNB, and the fees are just so cheap to do this compared to Ethereum mainnet. So we're sending that to the BEP20 address. We're going to confirm. It's going to make sure that it's me, and I'm going to interact with my ledger, accept and send. Send it. All right, so that's been sent. You can see that in the activity, it's pending here. You could look on Binance Smart Chain, rather the Binance scan as well to see how that's tracking. So right now we're going to get off here for a moment because I'm going to actually show you how we're going to withdraw now. Look at that, transaction confirmed. So that doesn't mean it's going to appear instantly in Binance. They have to go through their prerequisite number of network confirmations to make sure there's not a double spend going on or there's nothing unbecoming and it's playing within the rules of the smart contract. So if I take BNB, I'm going to trade that really quick. I'm going to trade it back to AUD just so I can show you how you could withdraw to your banks. And again, that's your call whether you want to do that. So I'm just going to sell. It's probably worth bugger all, but I'm just going to sell. I'll look at $37. I don't want to sell my precious BNB. Okay, market. Make sure you've hit market because if you go limit, if it's really important, actually, I'm going to take a moment to make a note of this. If you hit limit and you put, say, it's 757 right now and your limit order says 724, that is going to execute instantly. Essentially, you've just helped out someone who had a buy order, an open buy order. So you've just wrecked yourself. So really make sure you're across what order you are using. So we're going to market sell it because we're just trying to get rid of it. And again, I don't want to get rid of too much of my BNB because, it's the precious. So we're going to sell that. Oh, no, no, we're not because it wants us to sell more, guys. See if it'll play there. There we go. And you can see that's appeared instantly in my balance. So now what we can do is we can go back to our wallets. Okay. So simply you would hit withdraw off the AUD there. That's appeared in the fiat section, the fiat and spot. Select your currency, select your bank transfer. You would hit this. Okay. I've learned something today, guys. It needs to be a minimum of 50. In any event, that's fine. So what would happen next is you would hit continue and then it would pop up with your bank details if you've got that all set up and ready to go. Once you basically hit withdraw, my experience with that has been that that is instantaneous. That happens straight away. Like I say, there may be some instances where there is a delay for whatever reason. Not all banks like crypto because we're cutting their grass. But yeah, guys, that's about the long and short of it. And as you can, like I said before, I left these open as well, just really quickly because I do have it 1 minute pretty much. So this was how a combined version of an LP token and to yield farm as well. So you could have, let's say eGold with BNB, you would deposit that and then it'll give you what's called 11 LP token, which is really interesting because you've been given a receipt of your receipt. You can then go to farm. And these are tied in. This is routed through the Pancake swap pools as well. And then you would find the right pool, you would hit mine, and then you would deposit it, and then you would generate the utility token for this platform, Ellie. And for the last minute, I want to show you just one last protocol because I just need to make it clear to you guys that it's the Pancake swap aren't the only liquidity pools out there. There are other ones on the Binance Smart Chain. So, here this entire liquidity pool is completely separate from Pancake and Sparta. So, you would then start to pair the utility token Sparta with, say, BNB, and then you can join pools and they give you these rates of return. So that's just one alternative that's outside of the Pancake swap liquidity pool ecosystem, if you will. But yeah, thank you guys. That's about it for this presentation. All I have time for. I could go on for another couple of hours, but I don't want to punish you and your ears too much. So I want to thank you guys all for listening in. Cheers.
All right, Tristan, can you hear me there?
I can hear you, my man.
Easy done. So thank you very much for that informative session. That was very detailed, and it's been great having you sort of just run through that step by step on how to set up and moving from Binance out and what you can do with your BNB and back, and obviously all these other kinds of cryptos. So yeah, just so everyone knows, the recording of this masterclass will be available on the Binance Australia YouTube channel So yeah, now we'll move across to the Q&A session.
Yeah,
If you're
go
ready to
ahead.
do that, Tristan.
Absolutely. Whenever you are.
Um,
I'm just going to casually yield farm in the
sweet.
background. Don't mind me.
I'll just get these questions up here.
Sweet.
I had everything organized. Okay, great. So gotta be careful with some of these.
Let's go. There we go.
So this is a good one. What use cases does BSC have?
Oh man, you need to give me another masterclass for that one. So I did allude to it at the end there that effectively what's going on is there is a marriage happening between non-fungible tokens and decentralized finance processes. So there is basically you're able to they're gamifying NFTs, right? So there is one little cool instance that will illustrate this. It's called Bakery Swap. So it's similar to Rarible. If any of you have experience in buying NFTs, you would go to somewhere like Rarible. Now, Binance Smart Chain have their own sort of similar offering. You can buy, people can mint their NFTs way cheaper to do it there. Like I've got a mate into it, he was paying between $50 and $100 US for gas fees just to simply mint an NFT. Yet, if you do it through, say, Bakery Swap on the Binance Smart Chain, effectively it'll cost you cents. It'll cost you cents. So the level of innovation that can take place there. So you can buy an NFT, you can invest crypto into this NFT. So let's just think for a moment, like your Tamagotchis. If anyone played Tamagotchis back in school, you would feed and you'd power up
Of
your
course, of
Tamagotchi.
course.
Of course, we're all across that. So you'd feed and you'd power up your Tamagotchi. So what you can do is you can actually take things like bake, pet, weapon. There's all these different cryptocurrencies that actually boost the stats of your NFT. Once you've boosted the stats of your NFT, you can actually then go and fight bosses in certain caves. And they're of varying difficulty levels. So you need a certain power level to defeat them. And essentially, the more powerful your pet and you defeat this boss, the more of a staked return you will get from the cave. So that's just one use case, like in terms of marrying NFTs up. But there's something really cool that we should touch on. So I very briefly showed you guys Spartan Protocol. That's just one example of what's called a synthetic derivative. So what's happening with NFTs now is that we are basically using real world assets to peg to a digital asset. So some of you may have seen that Tesla is now listing on Binance Smart Chain. So what that is a synthetic derivative. That is a token, that is a Tesla token that reflects an actual held security. So we can actually trade that among ourselves. We can actually withdraw Tesla tokens, hold them in our wallets. That's just one thing. And how far this is going to go, we're now looking at real estate. So basically the technology on Binance Smart Chain, we could see tokenization of real estate through synthetic derivatives. That's one real world application. And then we've got business applications as well. You can basically tokenize your inventory in the future. So if you're running a business, you can create a digital token to reflect basically what's in your inventory, basically sandboxed, sealed off networks where basically you can store sensitive information across a network and it's decentralized, meaning all these nodes are holding fragments of information. When you put your private key in, all that comes together to basically give the key holder access to a unique database. I could go on, but I will stop for more questions.
I can see why you're a crypto advisor. It all makes sense now, right?
I'm a crypto freak, but yeah.
Yeah. Do you let's have a look at this one. Quick question. Would Binance Smart Chain eventually slow down? So do you know anything about like Binance Smart Chain and congestion?
Okay, so we need to consider how the node validators work. So a common criticism, because as I said, this is not everything's roses, right? Like there is a criticism that Binance Smart Chain is basically a centralized, decentralized smart chain protocol sort of thing. So over time, they could increase the basically the amount of validators in the network. I referred to it before that Binance Smart Chain doesn't rely on the Ethereum blockchain to process transactions. It depends on the validator nodes inside, basically that's a part of the Binance Smart Chain. So they operate on what's called a proof of authority, a proof of stake authority. So basically, people are staking BNB in significant amounts. And if they behave themselves and don't do anything malicious, then they'll get staked rewards over time. If they want to sort of start basically messing with the system, and then all other actors in the system can see this, then they'll vote that node is a malicious actor, and then that node will lose its entire BNB stake. So basically what can happen in the future, let's say if basically the network gets too congested. Right now we're seeing, last statistic I saw is that Binance Smart Chain is processing up to 80% more transactions than the Ethereum mainnet. I haven't seen any change in cost or speed during that process, but should it get congested, that's when the Binance Smart Chain can actually start voting to expand their node validators and expand the validation process. And then that would allow more network activity to take place on the Binance Smart Chain.
Awesome. No, that's super interesting. Thanks for that. I got another one here. Oh, I did have it here. So I guess this is a disclaimer, not financial advice on this one, but what are some of the projects what are some of the projects you're interested in on the BSC at the moment? Any DeFi or other recommendations to just look into?
What a friggin' awesome question. Okay, so, but I'm going to be responsible with it because I don't want to shill my bags and I don't want you guys pumping my bags, right? So I touched on the BSC farms in BSC Scan. So what you can do there, filter it by date started. Look at the OG ones. Look at the oldest ones first. The ones that basically have a good total value locked. And then you can actually flick through their different offerings. So basically, like I said, so there's synthetic derivatives, which is a really cool emerging use case for the Binance Smart Chain and tokens. You've got the NFTs and the merger with NFTs and DeFi. And then you've got basically, like I say, business solutions. I happen to know that there are some that are looking to expand basically what I like to call a DMMO RPG, or a decentralized massive multiplayer online role-playing game. That is a mouthful, but think of Skyrim, think of World of Warcraft. Basically, we're taking the what's happening is that's coming in and on a decentralized level, essentially meaning that there's no central authority that owns the digital assets within these worlds. We all have an opportunity to actually buy within these digital worlds. So again, you need to take it the way that you've been approaching your analytical processes, guys. When you're selecting a project, you need to answer the questions: does this have a real world use case? What's the team behind it like? In some cases, the team are anonymous, not just on Binance Smart Chain, but on Ethereum. That's a double-edged sword because you don't know who you're trusting. But at the same time, because I'm a decentralization maxi myself, it's really cool that basically the community can get together and just work in an anonymous capacity, and then over time roll out a product. So Spartan Protocol, again, not shilling. If you like it, look at it. I really like what they're doing over there, but they're a community-based developer team. So basically, people from the community are making GitHub contributions, and they are completely anonymous. I mean, I've got lines with them because they're really good blokes, but I'm not prepared to reveal their identities or anything. But but the point I'm getting at is there are a lot of different options out there. So lending and borrowing is a thing too. So you got Cream Finance, and that comes with the disclaimer, because Cream Finance did recently, I believe it was a flash loan attack that they experienced. So effectively, someone was able to take loans without putting down collateral, so just completely drain liquidity pools. It's worth everyone here being aware of the cautionary tales of staking in DeFi. So there's a ton of different projects out there, guys. What you want to look for, like I said, is indexes. You want to see an index of what are available. So I mentioned BSC farms on BSC Scan. You can go to places like CoinGecko, CoinMarketCap. They have a DeFi section. How BSC friendly those are at this stage, I'm not entirely certain, but like I say, there are options for you to actually sort of just explore the field, because it's expanding quicker than anyone can keep up with. It's literally whack-a-mole. You wrap your head around one concept, two more concepts pop their heads up. So yeah, I hope that helps.
No, brilliant. Look, we'll fit one more question in, and then we'll go to the giveaway, and then we'll just wrap things up, just because we've hit an hour here. So, why? This is another one I have. Why are the fees of Binance? So I guess on Binance Smart Chain and BNB so cheap, and in comparison to Ethereum, what's the key driver in the back end that drives the cost for each transaction?
Very interesting question. Great question. So I touched on that in the first question, I believe. But just going back to it, it's essentially the rate of which blocks can be minted onto the blockchain, right? So the problem with Ethereum is that it takes, I believe it's 1 minute to mint a block, but each block can only really take 7 to 15 transactions per second within that minute. So think about how many people, and not just people, think about the smart contracts in the background that run, because like I mentioned before, the beauty to BSC is that, and why there is so much innovation coming to Binance Smart Chain, is that they have faster block times. So they're able to basically mint a block, move on to the next one, mint a block. Within that block, they're doing, please feel free to correct me on this. I believe we're looking at maybe 100 transactions per second. I'm taking a very conservative estimate, but effectively, it is finalizing more transactions on the blockchain at a rate significantly quicker. So why it's more expensive on the Ethereum mainnet is basically you are paying more to compete to get priority within getting your block minted. So there's a lot of problems there in that system. Essentially, you can get what's called front run. So people can basically, you could send a transaction in the Ethereum mainnet, and then someone could pay higher gas fees, and then you get pushed to the back of the line. Effectively, is what's happening. And people may have experienced this. Sometimes you'll launch a transaction, and even after a day, it's still not processing. So Binance Smart Chain has faster block times based on the proof of stake authority system within it. So essentially, that's based on its trust within a network. So miners, because it works on proof of work for Ethereum currently, and that's what is giving Binance Smart Chain such an edge, is that they are already working on proof of stake. So that a lot of that is trust within the network, and bad actors are punished when honest actors basically launch a dispute and go, nah, hey, you've just botched a transaction, or you're trying to double spend, or you're trying to do whatever, that would be viewed as malicious. So simply that process of trust. And again, because I'm a decentralization junkie, I'm into a trustless environment. So over time is what I've been saying, is that while currently it's a centralized, decentralized blockchain, a Binance Smart Chain, over time it could develop more validator nodes, and it could make that more publicly available for people to participate in. So I hope that answers your question. Effectively, it's just the two different staking mechanisms, the block times, and the consensus that's able to be achieved quicker through the Binance Smart Chain.
You're a wealth of knowledge, mate.
Thank you.
I think we might have to get you on for another masterclass, maybe to answer some of these questions as a follow-up, or maybe a whole nother subject entirely. Who knows?
Looking forward to it. That'd be awesome.
Yeah. So just before we wrap up tonight, I guess it's time to announce the winners for the giveaway. So they always give me some funny Twitter handles here, man, to pronounce and say. Today's winners will receive a Binance t-shirt, a canvas tote bag, and a water bottle. So I'm getting ready for these words, right? So congratulations to Geordie, so at Geordie K, Sam at Konig Seppi, Ben Hines at BK Hines, Happy at Happy Iguana, and Dada Quacker at Dada Quacker.
What a legend.
So please contact Hannah on the Binance Australia Telegram group to claim your prize. And then
congrats, guys.
Thank you for joining us tonight.
It's been my pleasure. I hope you guys have all gotten value.
Yeah. Would you like to just let people know where they can find you just before we head off again? Yeah.
Absolutely, guys. So, as I mentioned, I'm a co-founder of the Aussie crypto community. We have a really fantastic, vibrant community in there. The culture is really strong. We help people out on all levels. So, if you're a very beginner and you're asking questions, you know, you'll get someone on there that will help you out. You just got to mind the casual trolls; they're everywhere. But no, like by and large, the fam is a pretty good place to go. As I mentioned earlier, I'm a consultant with the Crypto Consulting Institute. And basically we build people up again. We build them up from scratch, and we take them, why do we need different money? What is Bitcoin? What is, like, the very, very basics? And then we lead you into technical analysis, fundamental analysis, and then how to take all these things that we've learned, and we've learned what to look for to identify investment opportunities. From there, we'll build investment strategies around them. So again, I can't promise you that we're going to turn $100 into $1 million. So we really do try to focus on working with the right clients that are willing to engage with our process. So you can find me at CCI as well. And more recent, and in the not too distant future, you'll be able to also find me with the Red Fox Labs team. Like I say, they're obviously, hand up. I've got a bias. I think they're great, but effectively they're a blockchain incubator company that are seeking to build e-commerce products and integrate these different products into the virtual world. So there's some really exciting things coming up, including on the Binance Smart Chain. So you can also find me at Red Fox Labs. So yeah, I'll stop shilling myself. It makes me feel a little bit dirty, but everything. But I love Red Fox. I love CCI, and I love the Aussie crypto community as well. So if you guys want to get amongst it and you want to learn more than happy to try to help you if ever I catch a question.
It's just quite clear that you're passionate about the space. So thank you very much again. And to everyone still watching, make sure to like and subscribe to our Binance Australia YouTube channel, and come and join our Telegram. Come hang out with the Binance Australia team. We're in there all the time, helping out, doing what we can. All right, that one concludes that one tonight. So thanks again, and have a good night, everyone. Thanks for tuning in.